Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Data Playbook. So we've gotten through all the Sunday preview games, except for Sunday Night Football, so we're going to look into that one now, and let's jump right into it. Here we have Tampa Bay going to LA to face off against the Rams, where the Rams are favored on the money line with a spread of 7 points and a total line of 49.5. And then there's your team seasonal averages. And if we look at their rankings, you have Tampa Bay that has a decent offense, maybe average or a little below average, because they have a really good scoring rank, and they have about an average passing rank, but they have a not so good rushing rank. That might be because Bucky Irving has been out for so long, unless they just don't have a very good rushing game as well. Defensively, they're about the same but the opposite, with an allowed passing rank of 28, being one of the worst teams at stopping the pass, but an allowed rushing rank of 10, so top third at stopping the rush, which all results in being about a bottom third team in stopping their opponents from scoring. With LA, you have some better stats here offensively, with a scoring rank of 6 and a passing rank of 6, and then about average rushing rank of 18. Defensively, they're the second best in the league at stopping their opponents from scoring, even though they have an allowed passing rank of 22 and an allowed rushing rank of 11. Moving into the quarterbacks for this game, you have Baker Mayfield and Matthew Stafford. Mayfield averaging 18 fantasy points per game, and Stafford averaging 20.1. Mayfield has 3 interceptions this season, with 2 fumbles lost due to a sack, and Stafford has 2 interceptions this season, with 1 fumble lost due to a sack, and another one that's just categorized as a rushing fumble. There's your season averages. And looking at their impact on the rushing game, we can't quite see it here, but that seems to be kind of a small amount for the rushing carry share, which might be about 8 or 9%. But that does explode up over here with about 18.8% of the team's rushing yard share. So that would indicate that his yards per carry are pretty efficient. With Stafford, you can't quite see these, but they're even a smaller impact. Here he gets maybe about that same 8 or 9% of the rushing carry share, but that equates to even less here with maybe 1 or 2% of the rushing yard share. So that's the opposite of Baker Mayfield here, where he gets very few yards per carry. Next up for our running backs, you have Rachaad White and Kyren Williams, with White averaging 10.4 fantasy points per game and Kyren Williams averaging 16.6. The only turnovers come from Williams with 2 rushing fumbles this season, so here's their averages. And then looking at their share, you get Rachaad White with 39.4% of the team's rushing carry share and almost 36% of the team's rushing yard share. With Kyren Williams, he gets about 61.5% of the team's rushing carry share and about 69.7% of the rushing yard share. The biggest one taking the rushing yards and carries from Kyren Williams is Blake Corum, with just under a third of all the carries and yard share. And over here, because you've had Bucky Irving hurt, who still has a good chunk of everything, you've moved to Rachaad White, you have Baker Mayfield with another chunk, and then Sean Tucker with another good chunk here, who may be playing again in this game as well. So let's take a look at him too. And just in case you needed any information on Sean Tucker, here's his available information. Looking into our number 1 receivers, you have Emeka Egbuka and Puka Nacua, with Egbuka getting about 15.5 fantasy points per game, and Puka Nacua about 21.5. Also, Nacua is the only one with a turnover, with 1 receiving fumble. And then here's your averages, and with their target share, you get Emeka with 27.2% of the team's target share, and 32% of the team's receiving yard share. That is the largest of anybody on the team, as expected for the number 1 receiver. And Puka Nacua with 27.5% of the team's target share and 35.7% of the team's receiving yard share, once again being the largest of anybody else on the team, as expected for your number 1 receiver, which is also the largest of anybody else on the team. Continuing on into our number 2 receivers, you have Chris Godwin, who is still questionable, and Devontae Adams. Godwin averaging 5.6 fantasy points per game, and Adams averaging just under 16 fantasy points per game. With no turnovers by either player, we'll move to the averages and look at their share, with Chris Godwin only having about 4.4% of the team's target share and 2.3% of the team's receiving yard share. He's been hurt for most of the season though, so that would explain that. And Devontae Adams has about 27% of the team's total target share and 23.9% of the team's receiving yard share, and that makes him the second most productive receiver on the team. Next up with our tight ends, you have Cade Otton and Colby Parkinson. Since Higbee is out, for Cade Otton, you average 8.3 fantasy points per game, and Colby Parkinson averages 5.3. Parkinson's also the only one with any turnovers, with 1 receiving fumble. And here's their averages for the season, along with their target share, where you have Cade Otton at 16.9% of the team's target share and 17% of the team's receiving yard share, and Parkinson with 5.4% of the team's target share and 5.2% of the team's receiving yard share. So there's all your information for this game. It does seem like this should lean into LA's favor here, with a much better offense against a not so great defense, especially this matchup of the passing rank of 6 against an allowed passing rank of 28, And I think the other major disparity here is the scoring rank of 6 and allowed scoring rank of 2, especially being an allowed scoring rank of 2, given the rest of these numbers, means that they are really stout in the red zone. So that would give them the advantage over the scoring rank of Tampa Bay here. So I would lean towards LA winning this game. So there you have it for Sunday Night Football. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found it interesting and useful. And if you did, leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment on what other statistics you want to see in the future. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for Monday Night Football.